The rain hammered the pavement like 1,000 tiny heartbreaks, and the young man could barely breathe as he staggered forward, soaked to the bone and trembling under the weight of the unconscious woman on his back. His dreams were slipping away faster than the stormwater running beneath his feet, because just 30 minutes earlier, he had been standing outside a towering corporate building, ready to secure the job that could save his entire life. Now, he was late, drenched, exhausted, and painfully aware that fate had decided to test his heart instead of his resume. The red traffic light ahead glowed like a warning from destiny. Sometimes, kindness destroys everything. Red heart if you believe kindness still matters in this world. Viewers of Kindness Diaries, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to support hope, compassion, and second chances. His name was Aris Vallon, 24 years old, son of a factory worker and a mother who had spent most of her life battling illness. He had grown up learning that life rarely handed anyone a gift, especially not someone like him. Responsibility sat heavy on his shoulders long before this girl did. He woke up each morning with hunger in his stomach and determination in his chest, fighting to become the one thing his parents always hoped he could be, someone who rises. Aris had prepared for this job interview for months. He studied while his father slept, borrowed old suits from neighbors, and practiced answering questions in the mirror, imagining the moment he would say he finally made it. Today was supposed to be that day. The company was not just any firm, it was the leading luxury corporation in the city, famous for its impossible standards and guarded success. But Aris believed he had earned a chance to stand among them. Then fate intervened in the form of a woman collapsing on the soaking wet street. Her name was Saren. A striking young woman in her early 20s, dressed in a formal red dress and navy coat that now clung to her body like a second skin. Her mascara was mixed with rainwater, and her blonde hair stuck to her cheeks as she fell, hitting the pavement with a sickening thud. At first, no one noticed, cars rushed by, umbrellas hurried away, and humanity kept its eyes forward. But Aris saw her. Without a thought, he ran. He checked her breathing, found it shallow, and lifted her into his arms. She whispered something he couldn't hear and slipped into unconsciousness. He could have left her. He could have called someone else. He could have chosen his future over a stranger. But Aris never learned how to ignore suffering. He carried her through the storm, his heart pounding from more than exertion. Panic festered inside him as each minute pulled him further from the life he had hoped to secure. Yet he kept going, guided by guilt, instinct, and compassion. The nearest shelter was a bus stop, a bright blue box of protection amid a war of weather. He carefully lowered her onto the bench, fearing she might freeze if he stepped away even for a moment. Cars splashed past, headlights reflecting off puddles and skyscraper glass. The world looked cinematic, but life itself felt cruel. Aris peeled off his own soaked jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders, rubbing her arms to stir warmth. The storm refused to relax its grip on them. The interview start time passed 10 minutes ago. He thought about running, trying to salvage anything. But her eyelids fluttered, and she whimpered in pain, and he knew he could not leave. Just then, a luxurious maroon car screeched to a halt nearby, its headlights piercing straight through the foggy rain. A tall, older man in a tailored suit rushed out with a fury in his stride, desperation written in every line on his face. His presence alone screamed power. Wealth. Control. Aris panicked internally. He feared this man would misunderstand, would think he was responsible. But the man dropped to his knees beside Saren, cradling her hand, calling her name as though she were the only soul that mattered in the world. Relief washed over Aris when he realized they knew each other, but the relief quickly dissolved when the man's eyes finally locked onto him. Suspicion attacked first. Then judgment. Then a chilling silence. Aris stood frozen, soaked and shivering, with no way to defend himself. The man demanded to know what had happened, not with gentle concern but a sharp interrogation that made Aris feel like a criminal in the rain. He tried to speak, to explain, but every word that left his mouth felt like a mistake. Saren needed help, and Eris had done everything he could. But in this man's eyes, Eris saw blame, and something worse, the assumption that someone like him did not belong anywhere near someone like her. Emergency responders arrived quickly, and Saren was taken away inside the elegant car. Before leaving, the man turned toward Eris one more time with a glare so cold it could freeze the rain. He didn't thank him. Didn't ask his name. Just stared like Eris had ruined something valuable. Eris was left alone at the bus stop, his heart dismantled piece by piece. He sprinted to the corporation headquarters, clothes dripping, hair plastered to his forehead, lungs burning. But when he reached the grand entrance, gasping for mercy, the receptionist told him brutally that his interview time had passed and the hiring team had left. Opportunities rarely wait, especially not for the kind. Eris tried reaching out. He emailed. He pleaded. He nearly begged. But days passed with nothing but silence. And silence hurts. He returned home to his father's concerned eyes and his mother's whispered apologies. They told him he had done the right thing, but right things don't pay hospital bills. Right things don't erase regret. A week later, his phone buzzed with an unknown message requesting he visit the corporation again. Wearily, he went, expecting rejection in a fancier envelope. Inside the luxurious boardroom stood the powerful man from the rainy street, Magnus Earhart, the CEO of the corporation. Eris didn't understand. Magnus approached him, and his stern expression slowly softened. He admitted he had learned everything, how Eris sacrificed his own future to help Saren, how he stayed until help arrived, how he wrapped his own jacket around her shoulders. Magnus' voice cracked just slightly as he revealed Saren was his only child, the one joy the world had not stolen from him. That day, she had collapsed from exhaustion and emotional strain, and if Eris hadn't stepped in. A father may lose his empire, but he cannot lose his daughter. Magnus said he had misjudged him. His eyes, once hardened by a life of ruthless perfection, now glimmered with humility and gratitude. He offered Eris the position he had applied for, along with a heartfelt apology. Not as pity. Not as charity. But as a reward for the kind of strength that cannot be taught. Eris stood stunned, overwhelmed with relief and disbelief. All the rain he had endured seemed to finally make sense. Red heart. If this story touched your heart, viewers of Kindness Diaries, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to support more inspirational stories. Before you read the final emotional message, please comment what kindness means to you. And then Eris saw Saren enter the room, alive, recovering, and gazing at him with sincere gratitude and admiration. She smiled, a smile that could rewrite destiny, and he realized that sometimes the world tries to break you only to put you exactly where you're meant to be. The job he needed, the respect he deserved, the connection he never expected, all born from one simple choice to care. The rainstorm that once felt like punishment was actually grace in disguise. And as Eris stepped forward into the future he fought for, he learned the greatest truth life offers: kindness is never wasted, because the heart that gives is the heart that rises.